Today, I, Ayushmaan Bhatia, along with my team, will be presenting the presentation that we made on the industry we selected, which is the automobile industry and primarily the passenger vehicles. So the agenda of this presentation deals with the passenger vehicle market size, followed by its pestle analysis and the Porter's five forces that influence an industry. We'll also be discussing about the performance metrics that are relevant to this industry, like compounded annual growth rate, return on equity, ROCE, and IRR. We'll also be talking about the relevant companies in this industry, followed by the past trends and future predictions. So before we talk about the passenger vehicle market size, it is important to know what passenger vehicles are. So any commercial vehicle that has four wheels and less than 8 seats, excluding the driver's seats, come under this industry. And the market size for this industry amounts to about $60 billion, whereas where being the market leader is Maruti Suzuki, that occupies 42% of this industry, amounting to around $25 billion. So as you can see from the graph, Hyundai Motors and Tata Motors are another significant company, both of them occupying around 14% of the industry, where followed by Mahindra and Mahindra that occupies 11%. Other companies like Volkswagen, Honda, etc., also amount to 19% of the market share. Moving on to the pestle analysis, in this industry, there are a lot of political regulations that needs to be followed. For example, as you all must be aware recently, the shift from BS4 to BS6 has forced automakers like Maruti and Hyundai to upgrade technologies, increasing production costs. Future regulations aim at greener technologies. Current EV initiatives, famed subsidiaries boost EV adoption. Tata and Mahindra have benefited with rising sales of models like Tata Nexon EV. So our industry is very big on newer technologies like EV and as well as hydrogen fuel cells. In this department, also a lot of advancements have been seen. We also have some legal parameters that also need to be taken account for. Emission and safety norms. Compliance with BS6 norms and mandatory safety features like airbags are required for all new vehicles. Honda, for example, prioritizes safety in models like City and Amaze. Labor laws. Automakers like Tata and Mahindra must comply with labor standards, ensuring worker safety and regulatory adherence.
Good evening, everyone. I'll now present a pestle analysis for the Indian passenger vehicle market, focusing on the factors in the sequence of economical and technological first. Starting with economic factors, the rising income growth and expansion of the middle class are driving the demand for vehicles like Maruti Swift as well as Hyundai i20, especially among first-time buyers. At the same time, fuel price fluctuations are influencing consumer preferences, with many shifting towards fuel-efficient or alternative fuel options such as Maruti Wagoner CNG, which help consumers save on rising fuel costs. Next are technological factors. Indian automakers are at the forefront of innovation, particularly in the EV space. Companies like Tata Motors are advancing EV technology with better battery efficiency and expanding charging infrastructure. Additionally, connected vehicle technology is becoming more prominent, with models like MG Hector and Mahindra vehicles integrating autonomous driving features and advanced connectivity, enhancing the overall driving experience. Moving to the social factors. Urbanization is a major trend shaping the market. Cities like Delhi and Mumbai favor compact vehicles such as Maruti Baleno and Kia Sonet for their easy maneuverability and parking convenience. The social factors. Urbanization is a major trend shaping the market. Cities like Delhi and Mumbai favor compact vehicles such as Maruti Baleno and Kia Sonet for their easy work and parking convenience in congested areas. Alongside this, there's a growing eco-conscious. Customers, particularly in metro cities, are increasingly leaning towards electric vehicles such as Tata Nexon EV due to heightened awareness of environmental sustainability. Additionally, shared mobility services like Ola, Uber are also gaining attention, influencing car ownership patterns. Finally, the environmental factors. The push towards sustainability is strong, with automakers like Hyundai and Maruti adopting eco-friendly manufacturing practices to reduce emissions. Government incentives for electric and hybrid vehicles, especially coupled with increasing climate change awareness, are accelerating the transition towards greener vehicles, making the EV and hybrid market more appealing. In conclusion, these factors are reshaping the Indian passenger vehicle market. Com- Companies that can navigate these have a competitive edge in the dynamic industry. Now, my teammate will continue on forward.
So moving on to the performance matrix. The global automotive industry is a massive sector valued at 2.7 trillion in 2023, with a steady growth forecast of 3 to 4% annually until 2028. In India, the automotive sector significantly contributes to the economy, with $100 billion added to the GDP, with 3.9 million passenger vehicles sold in financial year 23, marking a notable 25% growth from the previous year. When examining profitability, global automakers like Toyota and Volkswagen maintain robust gross profits margin between 15 to 20%. Indian industry leaders such as Maruti Suzuki and Tata Motors have operating profit margins of 8 to 12% and net profit margins of 5 to 18% as of financial year 2023. The global debt to equity ratios are typically between 0.7 and 1.5, while Tata Motors stands at 1.2. Liquidity remains strong, evidenced by Maruti Suzuki's healthy current ratio of around 2. In terms of cash flow and operational efficiency, Toyota leads with impressive operating cash flows up to $20 billion. Maruti Suzuki also demonstrates strong performance with operating cash flows of 9,000 crores, that is about $1.1 billion. Both global and Indian companies exhibit effective inventory management, reflecting efficient turnover rates. So moving on to the next slide, we are comparing USA and India. This presentation is providing a comparative analysis of the automotive markets in India and the USA, focusing on market size, production, growth rates, and financial metrics. India's automotive sector, valued at $65.3 billion, is experiencing robust growth with a compound annual growth rate, that is CAGR, of 9.6%. The market is significantly driven by a burgeoning middle class, increasing urbanization, and rising disposable incomes. By 2030, electric vehicles are projected to capture 30% of the Indian automotive market, reflecting a strong shift towards sustainable mobility solutions. Production in India is valued at $40 billion, indicating a growing manufacturing base that is beginning to play a larger role in the global automotive supply chain. In comparison, the USA's automotive market is substantially larger, with a valuation of $600 billion. The US market also exhibits a solid CAGR of 9%, highlighting steady growth. Production in the USA is valued at $120 billion, benefiting from a well-established manufacturing infrastructure that includes both domestic and international automakers' assembly parts. Financially, the metrics reveal some contrast. Indian automakers such as Maruti Suzuki, Tata Motors, and Mahindra demonstrate a collective return on equity of 15.29% and a return on capital employed 19.54%. This suggests that Indian companies are achieving solid returns on their investments, though the range can vary depending on the efficiency and scale of operations. In the USA, major automakers have a ROC or ROI of approximately 17%, slightly lower but still indicative of strong performance. Notably, the cost of capital in India stands at 16.42, significantly higher than 8.73% in the USA, reflecting different financial conditions and investment environments in the two countries. So I'll hand over to the next person.
Now, let's begin by looking at Maruti Suzuki's financial performance and strategy in the recent times. Maruti's net profit surged by approximately 47% in the first quarter of 24-25, increasing by rupees 12,000 crore to reach 3,000 crore compared to 2,000 crore in the same period last year. The company is also making a big push in the EV sector with plans to invest approximately 10,000 crore in the next EV cars. This investment will allow them to roll out affordable EVs by 2025. By 2030, Maruti expects 15% of its sales to come from EVs and 25% from hybrids. In 2024, Maruti focused on expanding its EV lineup, increasing digital sales, and strengthening rural market research. They also introduced Nexa, a premium retail experience for higher-end customers. Now, let's look at some of Maruti's past trends. So, they held a 48% share in FY 2020 and 2021, with top models like Alto, Swift, and Wagoner leading the sales. Their focus on affordable vehicles and expansion with SUVs helped them stay dominant. They also built a wide network of over 3,000 dealerships and 3,600 service stations by 2020. In the future, Maruti plans to launch its first EV by 2025, investing approximately 10,000 crore into EVs and battery production. They also expanding their SUV lineup and targeting connected car technologies for the growing market in the Indian automobile sector. Now let's focus on the graph. So basically, the graph highlights Maruti Suzuki's market dominance in the past and future growth strategies. You can see how the market share in FY 2020 and 21 was around 48%, showing the brand's strong position in Indian automobile sector. Looking at the future, the graph reflects how investment in EV and hybrid technology. By 2030, Maruti expects 15% of its sales to come from EVs, showcasing a clear shift towards greener alternatives. The graph also emphasizes the growing contribution of the SUV segment, which accounted for almost 40% of the sales in FY 2023. This segment is expected to expand further in the coming years, along with export growth and innovation in the connected car technologies.
Moving forward, let's share some exciting updates about Tata Motors. The company has achieved a remarkable progress of 222% year-on-year increase in net profit, reaching about 17,529 crores. Their consolidated revenue also saw a significant rise of 13.3%. In June 2024, Tata Motors announced a substantial investment plan of rupees 16,000 to 18,000 crore in their electric vehicles. Shailesh Chandra, the head of EV division, anticipates that the Indian auto industry will reach 6 million units by financial year 2030, with Tata Motors aiming for an 18 to 20% market share in the Indian EV market. To expand its presence in the compact SUV segment, Tata Motors introduced the Nexon, addressing marketing demand, innovation, and the push for electrification. In 2024, the company focused on expanding its EV lineup, developing alternate fuel technologies like hydrogen and flex fuel vehicles. Tata Motors is also committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2045 and strengthening its position in both the EV and commercial vehicle segments. Their strategies include investing 16 to 18 crore by FY 30 to target an 18 to 20% in EV market share, expanding EV and hybrid vehicle offerings across segments. Talking about the future plans and government initiatives for the automobile industry, particularly focusing on passenger vehicles in India, are closely tied to the country's goals of promoting sustainability, reducing emissions, and fostering economic growth. Here is an overview of key development and initiatives. Shift to cleaner fuels and BS6 emission norms. The implementation of BS6 emission standards from April 2020 marked a significant regulatory shift in the Indian automobile industry, focusing on reducing vehicular emissions. The government plans to continue upgrading emission norms and promote cleaner technologies like hydrogen-powered vehicles and CNG and hybrid vehicles. The Indian government is highly focused on promoting the adoption of electronic vehicles as a major of its future mobility strategy. Key policies include FAME 2, Manufacture of Electric Vehicles Phase 2, and National Electric Mobility Mission Plans. The government is partnering with private companies to set up a network of charging stations across cities and highways. Also, the government is considering a battery swapping policy that would allow drivers to swap out depleted batteries or fully charged ones at designated stations. The vehicle scrappage policy introduced in 2021 encourages the removal of old inefficient vehicles from the roads. India's 100% FDI allowance in the automobile sector under the automatic route continues to attract international automakers to invest in domestic passenger vehicle production. And the government is providing tax incentives and grants for R&D in the automobile sector, particularly in developing fuel-efficient and eco-friendly technologies. This encourages innovation among automakers and supports the country's broader climate change goals.
So till now, we have seen various trends that's happening in automobile industry, the market size of automobile industry, and also the biggest players in the automobile industry in India. So coming to the next part, the Porter's Five Force analysis. So Porter's Five Force analysis are one of the essential tools for understanding a particular industry's competitive environment and determining which is the best strategy for potential profitability and achieving the economic surplus of a particular company in the particular industry. So they're important since they provide an understanding of the forces that can hinder success in the business environment. So coming to the first force, barrier to entry. The barrier to entry for new brands into the automotive industries are high. Many factors make entrance into this industry difficult. Firstly, the establishment of a brand requires significantly large amount of investment, and during the initial stages, there are several necessities for cash and including new hires and new staff. And also there are more regulatory things that needs to be followed in order to set up their factories, set up their companies in India. Also, many resources are required to facilitate marketing and advertisement to inform the consumers of the company's product. So barriers to entry in the passenger automotive sector industry in India is relatively high. So next, coming to the second force, supplier power, the bargaining power of suppliers. The suppliers in the automotive industry possess a low bargaining power. Their bargaining power is weak since there's a large number of suppliers for the automotive industry. Also, despite the presence of some large suppliers, most of them are small in size. Moreover, the raw materials needed are plenty and do not require a large number of resources. The low threat suppliers possess to forward integration is another reason they have low power over car manufacturers. Companies have no difficulty switching from one supplier to the another when the suppliers play to provide anything according to the rules they have set. So in the automotive industry, the bargaining powers of suppliers is relatively low. Next, coming to the bargaining power of the buyers. So bargaining powers of the buyers is relatively high in this automotive industry, just because of the fact that there are more players in the market providing more features to the cars and also providing at various price ranges. So the prices of the car ranges from starting at 5 lakh, even the going till one CR. And since most of the people in our country are in the middle class sector, there are many options for them at that particular range, providing in various features as well. So whether small or large, the buyers are in a position to ask for a reduction in prices since they can easily change their brand presence or mode of transportation. And most buyers usually prefer to purchase their products from brands that offer low prices. So bargaining power of the buyers in this industry is high. Next, coming to the next force. Next slide, please. So coming to the next force, the threat of substitutes. The goal of the company in the automotive industry is to ensure people can commute with little or no challenge. The threat of substitute is weak in this industry because despite many alternative means of transportation such as train, bus, taxis, planes, no one offers the kind of convenience and accessibility received by owning an automobile. The recent rise in trend and demand for possessing a personal car has led to an increase in the manufacture and usage of the cars. In addition, the threat of substitute is low because there are no effective alternate that can substitute the current demand for the automotive transport system. So coming to the last force, the intensity of rivalry. So the competitive rivalry in the automotive industry is very high. So various factors could be taken into consideration for telling it as a more competitive industry because of presence of many brands, credible brands in India, and also many credible foreign brands that have provided cars in an affordable rates comparing to the Indian brands as well. And companies usually stay in this industry for a lifetime unless they are bankrupt because they would undergo huge losses if they decide to exit the industry. And also many companies in industry have large amount of cash chance with them, even though if they're making the loss because of their presence of their parent company who has a large amount of chunk of money. And moreover, the rate of market growth influences the competitive intensity. A rapidly growing market, the rivalry between companies is not very intense. However, a slow growing market contributes to high competitive intensity since there are very few customers. So these are the five forces that should be taken into consideration when starting an automobile company in India. So in conclusion, various factors necessarily needs to be seen in order to set up an automobile company in India to become more profitable and also to achieve economic surplus. Thank you.